We are Geekcentric, and you can be too. Love ya. Laters. Bye. Get home safe, guys. Peace.
Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast, and welcome to our special Behind the Geeks episode for Daredevil, Born Again, Season 2. My name is Justin, and if you're joining us for the first time, well, we are Geekcentric, a podcast covering the world of movies, TV shows, gaming, and all things Geekcentric. And today we have got a very special Behind the Geeks episode for you. We are diving into Daredevil, Born Again, Season 2, with the people who bring the world to life. I had the chance to sit down with Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio, Matt Murdock, and Wilson Fisk themselves to talk about how their characters view each other this season, how that dynamic has evolved, and whether they can still be surprised by these characters after so many years. I also had the chance to sit down with executive producer Sana Amanat and showrunner Dario Scardapane about the vision behind this season, from balancing character and story to the real-world influences and historical ideas that shaped where the story goes. As always, a huge thanks to our friends at Marvel Studios Canada and Disney for setting us up with these interviews. It was absolutely incredible to go to New York and sit down with these talented actors and creative minds behind this show. Daredevil Born Again Season 2 premieres March 24th, so tonight at 9 p.m. with its first episode on Disney+. Our spoiler-free review is going to be out at 9 p.m. as well. That is when the embargo lifts. We absolutely loved this show, so make sure you subscribe to our podcast so you know when that episode drops and you can listen to our thoughts. We were lucky enough to get all 8 episodes as well, so we got the entire season, and we were able to talk about it. Spoiler-free, of course. We don't give away anything, but there's a lot to talk about, and we've already recorded our spoiler-filled discussion to drop when the finale drops in about 8 weeks' time. Now, keep in mind, if you want to watch these interviews, they are available on YouTube at youtube.com/geekcentric. I will put the links in the show notes. It was, again, such an honor to be in the presence of these creative minds and these talented actors that it still baffles me, that I had the opportunity to do it. So please go over to YouTube, show these videos some love. We're also going to have some social cuts that we're going to be posting on our Instagram and TikTok, where you can find us at We Are Geekcentric. There's so much more stuff coming down the pipeline. We got a review for Super Mario Galaxy coming up. We have more interviews for some upcoming shows. So it is a great time to be geek-centric. Okay, let's get to these interviews. First up is my interview with Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio. Enjoy. Hey guys,
Hi.
How are you?
How are you? Good.
Doing well. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us on the Geekcentric podcast. Look, I've loved last season. One moment that I specifically loved was first episode, the diner scene between Fisk and Matt. And, the relationship seems layered. It's just so much more than just a simple rivalry. And I wanted to ask Charlie, from your perspective, how does Fisk view Matt? And Vincent, how does Matt view Fisk at this point in season 2?
Let's hear it.
I think that Fisk, have you ever been on a picnic?
Yes, I've been on a picnic.
With
Not recently, though.
With the person that you love the most in the world.
Yes.
And you've got a beautiful bottle of wine and your cheeses and crackers. And you're watching a beautiful sunset, or watching people
Frolic
in the park. Yeah. And then there's this mosquito that is... And every time you think you get it, you wait a few minutes.
I know that
And
feeling.
yeah. That's how Fisk thinks of Matt Murdock.
Yeah.
How does Matt think of Fisk at this point in season 2?
So imagine yourself. Imagine yourself in your kitchen, and you're washing the dishes.
Okay.
And your hands are full of soap. and a fly lands on your nose. And you know, if you slap the fly on your nose, you're going to slap yourself with soap and make a bigger mess. So you have to just sit there and let the fly do what it's going to do and then continue your job. That's what it's like.
Well, those analogies are actually, as funny as they are, they actually totally make sense.
Yeah.
And seeing the first 4 episodes, I can see how that's evolving. You both lived with these characters for so long. Do you still get surprised by them from season to season? Like, what was a surprise for you from this season about Matt and Fisk?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always looking as well with the writers, always making sure that we're investigating the season and making sure that the characters are, they're the same people, but suitably influenced and changed by the events of the past 12 months, 24 months, whatever it is. That's really important to me, especially if you're making a long-running television show, that there is evolution. For me, the big thing this season was that Matt has, throughout the course of season 1, he's really come to terms with the idea that he's potentially made things worse. That if he didn't exist, maybe this Fisk, quote unquote, monster would have come and gone and been handled by the appropriate, officials in a way that would have caused minimum damage. And maybe actually Matt's obsession with him and obsession to rid the city of him has made things much worse. That's a really difficult thing for him to sit with. And so in season 2, what we see is, whereas in the past, Matt's always been pretty clear-minded about what is the next course of action that one needs to take, what is the next right move, what's the next thing you have to do. In this season, he has so much doubt in that area that he relies very heavily on Karen Page. Rather than, in the past, we've heard him say things with, this is what we need to do, this is what we should do next. In this season, he turns to her and says, what do you think? What do you think we should do? He asks for her guidance constantly and draws a huge amount of strength from her. And that was a fun new angle to play with Matt Murdock.
How about for Fisk? Has he surprised you?
I think the threat of the carpet being pulled out from under him becomes bigger than ever before. He's forced in a way that he hasn't been before to come up with something that's going to keep that carpet from getting pulled out from under him. I think that puts him in a mode that we haven't seen before. And it's definitely leads to a giant plot point that we've never seen before. It's that was exciting.
Yeah, I think you're both touching on the idea of losing control, right? Both of your characters are losing control to a certain degree. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on the Geekcentric podcast. It really means a lot to be here and to actually have the opportunity to talk to you. So
thank you so much.
Next is my interview with executive producer Sana Amanat and showrunner Dario Scardapane. Enjoy. Hey guys, how are you?
Hi.
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for taking the time to chat with us on the Geekcentric podcast. I had the fortunate opportunity to talk to you last year.
Season, right?
Yeah, last season. Yeah. So, season 1, it felt like a reintroduction for these characters in the MCU. If season 1 was about reclaiming their identity, how does season 2 evolve that?
Fighting for that identity.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen the episodes?
Oh, I've seen the first 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's Fisk is now full-blown Kingpin. Matt is like full-blown Daredevil, and they have to fight for the things that they truly believe in. And I mean, we've said it, season 2 is the fight.
It's a fight for the city too, ultimately, and their perspective on how to save and protect the city.
Yeah. And I love that in our conversation last season, you talked about the city as a character, and we see that continued in this season. And as you said, fighting for that and fighting for what they believe in. So I want to just take a second here and just give you your flowers, because you've had such an amazing career within Marvel, starting in the comics, helping to shape the characters there. Now you're working on this side of the medium and elevating the characters there. What's a lesson you've learned about adapting these characters across different mediums while still protecting them and still keeping what makes them special?
What's really amazing is, and it kind of starts from like my comic book experience, is like we ultimately, get to collaborate with such great writers and artists and creators across the board, and they will always give us something fresh and exciting, and they will forge a path forward for these characters that I think will keep them relevant for decades to come. And that's my favorite part of the process. But then at the same time, there are things that are true to these characters' stories that we can't necessarily run away from, like what they represent. The fact that Matt Murdock is inherently someone who is a contradictory. He lives in contradictions, and the fact that what he does, fighting for justice both as a lawyer and both as a vigilante, is quite complicated. And so our job and my job is to look at the truths behind these characters and make sure that we're constantly upholding them, understanding that the pendulum's going to keep swinging, and we can kind of keep playing in the sandbox that these pendulums create, but we still have to kind of bring it back down to who they are and what fans expect. So it's super fun and it's really great. And I have to say it's a credit to all of the amazing collaborators I've had around the years that I get to be able to keep playing and keep creating.
Yeah. And, compliments where they're due. Sana manages to keep one foot in the studio world and one foot in the creative world with perfect balance. And it's, I couldn't. I mean, there's no way I could pull that off. And it's funny how the writer's room has a real asset in working with her, because she thinks like an editor. So she's looking at really narrative long throws. She's part of the studio. Right. So we get real-time feedback on like, is this going to fly? And she'll be like, this is going to fly. That's not.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of the writer's room, Dario, I feel like the MCU is at its best, and it resonates with audiences when it can reflect the world outside our window. And I gotta say, this season feels really grounded in themes of power, control, and fear, particularly through institutions like government and a task force. How intentional was it to kind of tap into those real world tensions?
This is the craziest question, and it's one of the hardest things to answer, because we started this storyline a year and a half ago. Mm-hmm. The Mayor Fisk storyline started 10 years ago. The design of the task force uniform was 2.5 years ago. Mm-hmm. So
over 2.5 years ago. Yeah, this was a long time ago. Yeah.
So the crazy part about this is we built the story of the rise of an autocrat. We built the story of a resistance going against that autocrat. And then we filmed things, the bodega scene. Yeah. We filmed things that ended up almost looking like newscasts. And I think hard. And I think the reason they hit so hard, and it was it intellectually intentional? No. Mm-hmm. Was it the intention to tell a story about the rise of an autocrat? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then having it turn out the way it did. So my silly response is this. You build the story of an autocrat, you go into history. You look at Pinochet, you look at Franco, you look at Nero, you look at any of these characters. They follow the same playbook. Mm-hmm. Find a community and marginalize them, vigilantes. Mm-hmm. Build a militia to place blame on, to mess with their rights, the anti-vigilante task force. This has gone on over and over again over the years. I'm not making any political statement. I'm actually telling a story that reflects history. So, I mean, my silly smart-ass comment is, before you go out and vote, read a comic book.
Read a comic book.
But that's just it. It's
art imitating.
It's art that sort of had the foresight of what we're in, and it's a very unique.
And Sana makes a good point often. This is not new. Mm-hmm. X-Men was a reflection of the civil rights movement. Yep. Comic books have been mirrors, reflections, underscores.
Yes. Comic book talks about the outsiders and the outsiders' experience, like since the inception of what comics are. And what I love about it is that it talks about these great ideologies that we all aspire to be, which is about truth, which is about justice, which is about humanity in its best form. And so I do think ultimately when we do it well, like what we're doing with Daredevil is it's a story about the power of the people and the people fighting for their own safety, for their own city. And I think that in itself just is
when the law is wrong, outlaws are heroes.
Absolutely. Yeah, it feels similar to how the Falcon and the Winter Soldier was tapping into the whole race commentary and talking about Black Captain America at a very specific time. And it, again, like you were saying with Daredevil, it filmed everything before, but the world kind of happened in the same sense.
And I think any creative person feels a zeitgeist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was in the water.
It was just in the water. Andor.
Yeah. There you go. Andor is another example. Yeah. Well, guys, thank you so much for this conversation.
Good to see you again.
Fantastic. It was great seeing you again.
For season 3.
Awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we
start shooting on Thursday.
Amazing.
We're here.
Yeah, that's why you're on the set.
Oh, amazing. Secrets.